Hi everyone, I'm back with another video. It's been a while since I did the last one, so I've got quite a lot to go through this time. So I'll not talk, I'll just jump straight into it and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Cheers. Continuing on with the build of the handlebars now. I'm trying to get the bars set up on this side because I have to drill a hole in here to be able to put this right side throttle switches on. And then obviously the tube, I'll put the grips on both sides as you can see. So yeah, I just need to line it up. I'm going to obviously put that on as well to get the correct spacing, try and get it as accurate as I can. I think I've got the bar straight. The only thing that is a little bit of a unknown still is how straight the bike actually is, because it's not sat on the actual wheels at the minute, as you can see. So I don't know whether the bars are going to roll forward or back or not. And what I don't want is those bars tilted down or upwards because they'll just look stupid. They want to be dead straight. Just going to slide the throttle switches on. Right, so I think it probably wants to be around there somewhere where it's, you know, in reach of my hands, but not too high where it's rolled round. So anyway, so I'm going to take that apart and then mark the hole, which is there. I don't know what that's shown on camera, that little bit there. And obviously it's underneath somewhere, drill that, and then that'll slot into it and lock in place. And that's that bit done. Yep, that seems to be locking in. Got plenty of clearance by the looks of it on this piece as well. Yeah, nothing. I was just concerned that something might grab there, that's all, but I think that'll be all right. Like I said, once that's snipped up a bit more, and obviously the cables are running, so I'll put the master cylinder on in a minute. I'm just trying to have a look at putting the swing arm back in now and seeing if I can get that set up ready to be installed. So yeah, see if I can get another job out of the way. But I have just noticed that now that I've had it powder coated, it does not want to go back in. And I've tried gently tapping it with like a rubber mallet, still won't go in. So it's because obviously it's been powder coated and it's gone in a little bit thick inside the swing arm hole. Don't know how well you can see that in there. So it's going to be a case of having to get the Dremel out and grind a bit of that paint off on the inside. Right, give that a try first. I've taken very, very light amount off. Nah, absolutely no way. Right, I'm just going to have to keep going at it with the Dremel. Right, I have had to take it in, well, you can see the shine of the metal really. I've had to take it right back almost just to be able to get it through, but I know it's not ideal, but at least it's going through now, whereas before it wasn't even budging. So I'll have to do the same with the other side. I thought this might be a problem. Right, so I'll just try and put the swing arm on and see if I can get it to fit in place. So there's a bit of grease to these inner pieces as well to try and help the swing arm slide in a bit easier. It just might help a little bit, that's all. Oh, Christ almighty. Alright, well, seems to be alright. So I'll not torque it down just yet. I'm hoping that I can get the front on like you've already seen, the back on with the shocks on, and then hopefully if I can get someone's give his hand, put the engine on this wooden block like I did when I took it out, and then try and take the side off, move it onto it. And the hard part is it's going to be quite heavy now with all this stuff on. It's heavy enough just to frame on its own, just because it's awkward. But yeah, we'll see how I get on. But like I say, I'll likely test fit it first, and then this bit here might be an issue. I'll see. And then if I have to take it off, just whip it out, put the engine in, we'll be back on again. But it's starting to feel a bit more like a bike, and quite liking the colour scheme now. These are my new shocks. Hagen, God knows, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Anyway, so let's have a look. Look at that. Well, I know they're no Ohlins, that's for sure, but people say they're pretty good though for this bike, and you're probably not going to get much better on the CBs because, well, for start off, we're not allowed to run anything else other than, I think, standard or these, or actually YT, I think is another one you can run for Thundersport, but I think these are supposed to be better. But they're the slimline black version. They're supposed to be quite nice ones on the bike. Definitely an upgrade over standard, that's for sure. When I ordered these from SF Parts, I mentioned how much I weighed, and he just did the kind of calculation to figure out the nearest sort of weight size for me. So that's these apparently. No idea what they are, but we'll see. Obviously I can adjust it a little bit at the bottom, but yeah, we'll see. But I'm going to put one for now, and then I'll probably give it a go on track and just see what they're like, and then I'll tweak it from there. I don't like messing around with stuff instantly because, well, one, I don't know what I'm doing. That's the main reason. But two, it might be fine. I might jump on it and just think, yeah, all good, and go from there. Well, I thought that was going to be just a straight swap. However, it looks like it sticks out further than that piece there does. So, right, I'll try that again. I think it just needs the nut winding on, and it'll sandwich it in a bit easier. Because it's just brand new and they doesn't want to give. So hoping when I tighten this up a touch, it will pull it into the frame. Right, I'm gonna go too tight for now. Get the bottom one on. Oh, I've lost my 14 socket. Where the hell has that gone? Oh, sat on it. Again, I'm not going to nip it up tight just yet. I'll get the other side on and then I'll tweak it from there. It is a bit like a rocking horse at the minute. And this one, I think I might have to put a little bit of pressure on to get it to the swing arm to come up. It's going to be fun. Right, well, I've got it on. That was a little bit more of a faff than I thought it was going to be. Obviously, as you put one side on, it kind of pulls tension on it, and then it slightly pulls the other side out. So you would end up having to like prise one side up a little bit to get it on. Obviously, if this was on the bike, I could have just, with the wheels in, I could have just put a jack underneath and just gently lifted it up. But because it's rocking like that, I have nothing to push against. But anyway, it's on for now. That's, again, I'll not tighten them up just too much because they might have to come off again anyway. So I have now what's starting to resemble a bike at last. It's felt like ages since it started to look like a bike. It's just been a frame sat on the floor over that corner. I'm going to start running out of space again, aren't I? I just need to get the obvious first, engine in there, then I can do the rest and start clearing some of that clutter over there and start rebuilding it up. Right, so the garage looks a little bit different today, as you can see. It looks more like a murder scene than it does garage, but this is why. So I've got my engine back finally, so I'm super happy with how it's turned out now. I'll just give you a quick wander around so you can have a look. Struggling for space in here. I've had it vapor blasted obviously inside and out to get rid of the dirt. So part of the issue I've had with this engine in the first place was the amount of oil inside it, dirty oil. Because it was sat for so long, it was, especially in the bottom half, it was just caked with dirty oil. So yeah, blasted that all out. and obviously the engine casings have come out really nice as well. It's a shame that this is a bit grubby still, but it's as good as it's going to get, I think. Right, well, seems to have turned out okay. I'm not even sure if the camera will even pick up any of the lacquer on there, to be honest, because, well, it just looks like a silver engine again, doesn't it? It's got a nice gloss to it now. And a couple of days later, and it seems to have all set and hopefully all good now to go back in. So what else I think I'll do is I'll get that obviously off the bench onto my stand for the engine stand at the bottom, which is just basically blocks of wood. I'll sit it on there, then bring the frame in, and hopefully it's at the right height to be able to get it into the frame. Right, well, it's in, but I still got the front part to sort and obviously put the frame on the side. That was the most stressful part of the whole build so far. I had to get the wife to try and help us put it in, but not her fault, but it just stressed me out even more. What the issue is, obviously, you're dealing with the engine that's trying to wobble side to side. You got to lift it on and over and then drop it down into place. You got to obviously keep the bloody forks from wagging side to side. Deal with the weight of the whole thing. It's just awkward. That's the only issue. And obviously, the two of you, it's dead easy to get kind of stressed. Let's just I'll put it politely. But yeah, she helped me, but it wasn't easy. I can see a bit of red paint already there. I've got the two in at the top and I've got the two in down at the bottom there. You can see the black tape here. If you're gonna have a go at doing this yourself, well, not yourself, but hopefully with someone, just tape up the inside of that frame all the way around there, because it's that gets scuffed off the side of here. And I think I have caught it on the inside under there, but there's just not a lot I can do. It's really hard to get it in without catching it off something sticking out. Let's face it, there's enough things sticking out there like bolts and stuff. That yellow piece there is just trying to stop it from scratching the top of the rocker cover underneath. So the next bit is to fit the cross bit across there, bolts the frame together. So at the minute it's just held in place by the two bolts at the back. So I'll get this piece across the front in and then try to put this side bit on, and I'll go around nipping it all up, and then that should be it for then. That way? It's got to be that way. Yeah, that way. So I've got on the insides. Yes, that was all right. So I got new bolts for these just because I wanted them to look nice and shiny and clean. These should be a lot better because they're stainless bolts rather than just the standard. I think they were just standard steel or something previously. Time to get this sidebar fitted. But just going to chop these off. These are just to stop it from scratching on the floor as I was working on it for the last few weeks. Did the job well though. Just some pipe insulation things. So I've got a few different bolts for this. They're new ones I bought, and they're a bigger thread pitch, but didn't like the bolt. So I got some different ones, which were these. These are actually titanium ones, but that's not really the reason why I got them. They're just a nicer bolt size. The others looked a bit massive. So these are all 1.5 thread pitch, so they're slightly thicker than the standard ones. And then there's one of them in there, which is still 1.25, and that's because there's a nut on the back of there, which is where the bottom of the frame connects to. And if, like I say, if I did this again, I'd grind that off, so it's just a hole, and then I'd put a thicker bolt through, as in a thicker thread pitch, and then just put a lock nut on the back. It's not gonna make any difference as such, but it's just, it probably would have been easier instead of having one 1.25 thread pitch and the rest 1.5s. It's like these holes at the back are just very slightly out to get them to line up. Going through, there we go. Right, I'll put this one back in. So that's them in. And I think now what I'll try to do is get this bike off this wooden platform. And now you can see it's obviously on the stands. I couldn't film it and do it at the same time because I was too worried about something tipping over. Just about to do the swing arm now, and that's 90 Newton meters, so that is very tight. So I'm gonna torque that up now. I'll try to do that on the camera. I've already set that to 90, so I'd left that quite loose, so it's gonna need a bit of tightening up, yeah. All right, here we go. Flipping heck. There we go. That's 90. What we'll do is I'm going to show a few images of what was actually wrong with the engine in the first place. So originally in earlier videos, I had to get this sent off to have it done, as you've all seen. I'm going to flash up some images on the screen so you'll be able to have a look at them. But basically what's actually happened is inside, because this has been stood for such a long time, all of the seals inside had just basically corroded themselves. Either they'd stuck themselves to bits that they shouldn't, or they were just kind of falling apart. So the piston rings needed replacing for a start off. They basically corroded themselves to the inside of the engine. So we replaced all of those anyway. And also the valve stem seals were also knackered as well. The cause of both of those issues was allowing oil to go into places that it shouldn't. So the valve stem seals were allowing it to come through and into the spark plugs at the top. So that's how I initially discovered the issue. I've got my carbs back. I'll quickly show you them, and obviously been wrapped to keep them clean. Right, well that looks a hell of a lot cleaner than it did before I sent them away to be done. Obviously the issue with these was it was just caked with dirt inside there. As you can see, inside those just look nice and clean. And then obviously on the side, looks mint as well. So they've been vapor blasted inside and out. New seals everywhere. The seals that were the worst were the bits that on the ends, which I think it's on the main pipe coming in. They were just crusty and needed replacing. So the butterflies in there have been set by eye for now, and hopefully they should be about right for getting the bike to start up smoothly. And then if not, I might have to adjust them. Just gonna put these engine cases on now. May as well get them out of the way, get them on. And I'm pretty sure these are a Thundersport requirement, so yeah, I'm gonna have to put them on. I obviously want to, because that looks obviously a lot nicer than that, but anyway. So it's just a case of undoing the bolts. I'll do them one by one, try and put them on one at a time, so that obviously I don't want to take the whole lot off in one go and disturb the gasket inside. Right, that's the engine cases on. I did actually go around and put a little bit of copper grease on each of the bolts just to make it a bit, just if I have to get them off, because you know, if you have a crash I'm going to have to replace them, so I just want to make sure they come out of the aluminium nice and easy with them being stainless bolts. So that's it, that's them done on both sides. Just going to stick the coils back on now. Should be a relatively easy one to do. I labelled these up as well, right and left, just to make it, again, extremely obvious. I've already got spark plugs in, and they've already been set by the engine builder, so that should be good. So I can just drop these straight on top. That's it, that pop sound, so it's locked in place. That's it, they're on. Just going to cut those little labels off, don't need them anymore. Right, so what I'm up to now is, as you can see, I've just put the race harness in just to see where it starts to sit, because I've got to obviously figure out what to put in first. I can remember the process I took it out, but obviously I want to make sure that I get it back in, and this harness reroutes a different way than the original one does. The original one comes down here, down there, across there, and then down this side. So it comes from the coils at the top, down this side, underneath. I put that clip on there just to hold it in place, and that's just screwed through and tapped into the frame, and it's going to run down there, underneath, and then a battery box here. And I'm just in the process of sorting this battery box out, because it's going to sit inside there. So this is where the ECU is going to sit now, into there. So on the road bike, the ECU sits here, and obviously the harness is running all the way down because you've got all the indicators and lights at the back. But on the race one, I've opted for the trimmed down version. Some of the guys keep it the original harness running that way, as I said before, but this one that I've got here, the guy that makes it, HWW Racing, trims it down so that we reduce all of the unnecessary length of the cable really, and it all sits in there tucked away in this nice little battery box that he also makes, so it'll sit on there. So I think I'll go for somewhere about there, stick it down. Right, so this is the bit now that needs to go into that little clip there, which then sits nice and neatly into there like that. I'm just going to take this apart and just clean those surfaces there so we've got a nice clean earth point. That runs down to the alternator onto the top of there, and then obviously that runs pretty obvious to the battery, so I'll put them on next, put that on and then stick that in place there. So that's how that will sit, quite nice and neat. Just need to put a little bolt through there. Right, so I put a bolt in, I'm going to just stick this in now. I take the battery box out just to be able to get into here, to be able to put it in. As I said before, one of these will route through underneath that one and onto there, onto the starter motor there. I think it just wants to drop underneath all these cables, like that. And then that's my battery one, which you've seen already, and that'll just loop through into the battery. I'll attach down there to there with a cable tie. I'm not going to do it just now, I'll do it later on. These will actually have bolts coming through from the seat itself, so we'll see all the way through the fiberglass, and then the seat will sit onto the metal and then bolt through. So these will actually come back out. I've just put them in just to keep it steady, to keep this lot in its place. Yeah, so that's that bit. I think I need to start looking at getting the rectifier on the side now, because it needs to have an earth point in there again, so I need to make sure that that's nice and clean. Nearly forgot to put the flipping fuse back in. That would have been good, because I'd have guaranteed I'd have forgotten that. Yeah, so it looks nice and neat. That, really pleased with that. I mean, the guy who's designed all this, been racing these CBs for quite a while. He has his own engineering company, so he's made all this stuff himself. There's a few lads that make stuff and they're all good at it, but you know, that's just a nice neat option for that box, and being able to store all the stuff out of the way. Just going to put the rectifier on now. So I've just basically, you can see there, look, that's just down to bare metal. Luckily, when I had it powder coated, I left the bolts in, and by mistake, and as I've obviously undone it, it's left the bare metal. So that's what I need to obviously create a nice earth point for the back of this, and this piece under here to go to. So that's going to have to go onto there as well and create an earth point for the harness, and then obviously that plugs into the rectifier. So I'll set that lot up now. So now that all plugged through and into there, once I get the harness in place. So I'm just trying to get everything kind of in the right spots, and then I'll connect the harness up last, because I'm not sure if I might need to take it out if I'm, you know, installing the airbox, or I struggle with space. I might need to take the harness out, drop it in and route it back through. But I'm trying to get these key bits in for now, so that it's all in the right areas. Right, that's that bit in place again. Worried about it scratching on there a little bit. I have to put something over that. I mean, stuff's gonna move, isn't it, and scuff around. I don't really want to hack the frame apart. I think next bit I'm gonna do is start to get the front exhaust pipes on. I've shifted the bike onto the paddock stands like that. Well, not paddock stand, axle stands. So I can now get the exhaust to run down the side, obviously from the front all the way back, it'll come to obviously around here, and I can start looking at putting the exhaust hanger on. So I think I'll tackle that next, then I'll put the radiator back on and start rerouting all the pipes through and get that lot back on. Then I'll connect up all the pipes into there and then start connecting up some of the wiring, and hopefully then I'll be at a stage where I can start to put through some of the clutch cable back underneath, cable from the throttle, route that back under as well, and probably look at getting some of this stuff connected back up. And that's one, and then the bottom one down this side. Clamp on before I forget. So then I'll put the down pipes on next, I think, get them out of the way, and I can start sorting out around the other side. I'll connect them up, then I'll put the radiator on, and then I'll run the pipes down to under there and sort that hose out as well. Right, so with this hose that connects to there, originally, the original pipe came outside of the frame and then went under there, but obviously for the sake of racing with, that's not going to be much use, because if you come off, you're likely to catch that hose and rip it clean off. So I've seen everyone seems to tuck them in like that. I think I've got that the right way around. I'm going to put the bottom piece on, connect that onto there, and then I'll just leave this open for now, and I'll sort the pipes out first, the down pipes, and then I think that just goes under there where the radiator will connect to, and that should be that. I am thinking I should have gone for different colour hoses now that I see it all together. I think something else like blue or something, darker blue, but I don't know, maybe that would have looked a bit weird as well with it being a light blue. Anyway, they still look better than the crappy old knackered 20-year-old pipes that were on there originally. So I'm going to put a tiny bit of copper grease just to make these gaskets stick in there a bit easier. Hopefully it'll help anyway. Hopefully it'll stay there for now. That's one. Hopefully that one will stay put as well. There we go. Get in there. I'll try and smack the hell out of the frame whilst I'm at it. This one, or this one. I think, well, the choice is, like I said, choice for the weight saving is definitely that one, because that is so much lighter than that one, like ridiculously lighter. Anyway, I think I'll go with this one, because it does look a bit cooler. It's a bit longer though, which doesn't look as good. I think it's going to stick out a mile. Hopefully it'll fit on here. Right, well, that does stick out quite a long way. I know they are like that on the CBs though, but that is a beast of an exhaust. Anyway, I'll use that one and I'll line it up, see where I seem to get to with that, and I'll try the same with that one. I think it's going to be a case of just faffing around a little bit. I'll not show all that on camera because it's not that exciting. That's one exhaust on anyway, the Lextech one, as you can see. Struggled to film it obviously whilst faffing around, trying to line it all up, getting it all set up here, putting that on and just holding the weight of it all, so I had to turn it off to do it. But yeah, it was just literally a case of, you saw me put the down pipes on, and obviously I just supported the weight of that with some tyre wraps on, or just around there, and then it was just literally a case of just sticking this on the end and lining it up. But what I'm about to do next is I've put a little black dot in there, and I'm going to tap that with a punch, and then I'm going to drill it out and put a riv nut behind it, so that I've got two bolt holes then. I think that's in a good place, the actual pipes. I mean, they're running nice and parallel along there with this bar. The idea of these, I mentioned before, is to give you better ground clearance, which is why they've been made as parallel to that bar as they can be. Not a great deal to see there, but I have wound them on and nipped them up in place for the bolts and the nuts, so they should be okay now. But yeah, these have gone on real nicely, these ones, I gotta admit. Right, well there's the riv nut fitted. Luckily, I got it absolutely spot on, so I'm pretty happy with that. And now that lines up with that. So I'll line that all up, put the exhaust can back on, and I think that's it for the exhaust anyway. Well, it is for now, because it's probably going to have to come off again anyway to get access to all this stuff and setting up all the disc brake at the back. But for now, at least, I can put it on and I can make progress with getting the rest of the radiator put on and all that sort of stuff. So I managed to get through quite a lot in that video. Next time, I'll be doing more of the same and continuing with the bike build. I'll put the carbs back on, I'll get the radiator hooked up, all the hoses connected, and I'll start looking at the wiring as well. So as always, if you haven't seen any of my other videos of the bike builds up until this point, be sure to check them out in the playlist on my channel. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.